Shalom lekulam, bruchim habayim. My name is Aaron, and today we are going to speak about the vowel system in Hebrew, and then we are going to learn the first two letters in the Hebrew language. אז בואו נתחיל. Let's start. In the Hebrew language, we have two systems that help us read. The first system that we are going to touch into is the vowels system. The vowel system is a system of symbols that we are going to place under or around the letter to help us understand how we should pronounce each and every letter. What do I mean by this? Let's take for an example the kamatz and the patach. The kamatz and the patach are a minus or an upside down plus sign that will be placed under the letter, providing for us the vowel of a. Meaning, I should have some kind of a letter giving me a consonant, a short sound that I will get from it. For an example, from the letter B, I might get the consonant B. And under it, I will have some kind of an indication, this symbol of patach or for kamatz, telling me I should add an a sound to it. So from this pairing, I will have a B connected with a. Together, it will sound as ba. Let's do the kamatz together. Let's say I have a letter creating the sound of a V sound. And I place under it the kamatz, just a line under. What should it sound like? So the V sound creating a V consonant, and the kamatz is pairing just tightly next to it an a sound, telling me that I should read it as a va. A small disclaimer before we continue. The vowels in the Hebrew language are something we use like wings on a bicycle. So this is something we are going to use for beginner level readers or for children. And when you get better and better and you know the language better, you don't really need those. You will see the word and you will already recognize the pattern, knowing what is the meaning of that word. So in modern day Hebrew, you will not see vowels under the letters, and you will need to try and use a little bit of spices to understand how should you read the word. Wondering, why do we have two symbols of vowels for each sound? The reason is historical, and for us modern day readers, it doesn't matter that much. We just need to remember that each pair has some kind of a specific feature that help us remember the sound. So for example, the kamatz and the patach are both created from a line. And this might help us remember this a sound when we memorize it. Really less time. You might ask yourself, why do we need sets of vowels for each sound? And the reason is mainly historical. So for simplicity's sake, for us modern day readers, it doesn't matter. When we see the minus or the plus sign, we know that we need to use the a sound. When we see two dots next to each other or a third dot creating this triangle, we know that we need another one, and so on and so on. Let's continue. The tsere or the segol will give us this a sound. And I want us to notice something. When we say the names of the first pair, kamatz and patach, the first syllable, or the first vowel actually, is the a vowel. In the tsere and segol, I take my lips and my jawline backward and down in the same a sound of the vowel. And this is a really nice rule of thumb. The first vowel in the name of the vowel is actually the sound you need to produce when you read this vowel out loud. So the tsere and segol create an a sound. Let's try producing something out of it. So let's get back to our B example. I have a letter creating the B sound. I want to pair it with the segol so an E sound. How should I read it out loud? So if I take the B, connecting it with the E, it should be really tight together. B. And let's do it with an F sound, for example. The sound will be an F, so a F, paired up with a tsere, with an E. It will be Fe. Let's continue to the next pair, the chirik and the chirik male, the full chirik. Over here, the sound that we want to try and create is an E sound. So actually just saying the name of the letter E. Let's take it into an action. Let's have a B followed with the chirik male, the full chirik, together, so the dot and the apostrophe, giving me a B sound connected with an E. So together it will be B. And let's say I do the same thing but with the sound of a T. So I have a T from the letter and E from the chirik, creating together T. Let's continue to the next one, the full cholam, cholam male, and the cholam. Do you have a guess what will be the sound being produced from this vowel? Cholam or cholam male. In this case, I will have an O, like in the word top. So a nice way to remember it is that we actually have a dot on top of the letter or on top of this pedestal that we have over here. So if I have a B connected with this dot on top, in this case I have a B connected with this O, so it will be bo. And if I have a Z connected with this full cholam, it will be zo, with O like in the word top, and not like with O from the word zoo, for an example. Next pair of vowels that we have are the shuruk and the kubutz. They will pronounce for us this U sound. A really comfortable way to pronounce it is to take your lips to the middle and just take it out with a throaty sound. U. So the shuruk has the dot at the middle of the pedestal instead of at the top, like our lips going at the middle outward. The last two vowels that we have are vowels that don't really create a sound. They just indicate for us the end or the beginning of a syllable. So the shva does exactly this. The shva tells me that after this letter, I should have a small pause and start a new syllable just afterward. The dagesh is exactly the other way around. It tells me up until now you had one syllable and now you should start a new syllable. And this is quite it about the vowel system. So let's summarize for a moment. In Hebrew, we have sets of vowels for each sound, and those symbols are going to be appearing under or around the letter that we want to try and understand how to pronounce. The kamatz and the patach, the minus and plus, creates an a sound for us, whereas the tsere and the segol will give me this e just next to the letter. Afterward, I have the chirik and the chirik male, giving me the sound of an E, like the letter E in English. The last two are the cholam and the full cholam, giving me an O, like in the word top, so O, and the shuruk and the kubutz, giving me the sound of an U, taking our lips outside. before we finish, I want you to just go over these sounds and see if you can pronounce them correctly. A, E, I, O, U. This is it about the vowels. And now let's progress into the letters. So let's start with the first letter of the alphabet, the letter Aleph. The letter Aleph looks a little bit like an X that someone slashed and it just shifted a little bit to the side. The letter Aleph creates a small throaty cut, and then it will actually we should actually pronounce the vowel that we have under the letter or around the letter. A really comfortable way to actually write the letter Aleph is starting top to bottom with the diagonal line, and then again top to bottom with the other two diagonal lines. So starting top to bottom, and then going from the top to the bottom. Let's see it again without the arrows. Diagonal line, top to bottom, top to bottom. Now, let's say I will add the small t under. Do you remember what does it said? In this case, the letter Aleph should be read as a short cut and then the sound of the vowel. In this case of a plus sign, it will be an A sound. So a short guttural cut, A. Really releasing it a little bit with some stress. A. By the way, if you want to work with the same source material that I work on in this class, you can do it by following the link below to my Buy Me a Coffee profile and downloading it from there for free. If you find value in this video and in other videos I create, please consider buying me a coffee on the site. Let's continue to the next part. In the next part, we are going to try and actually see if we remember these connections between the vowels that we just went over and the letter Aleph. For an example, over here, I have the letter Aleph, the throaty cut, connected with the vowel of an A. So I'm going to connect it with the throaty cut followed by this A sound. Together it will sound as an A. Can you try and read out loud this letter Aleph? So under the letter Aleph, I have the dot telling me that this is a chirik. How should I read it out loud? If the way that you read it as an E, you will be correct. The chirik generates for me the sound of an E, like the name of the letter E. E. Let's see the next one. How should I read it? In this one, I have the minus sign. It's the same idea as the plus sign. This will help me with the A pronunciation. So the Aleph creates the throaty cut and gives me this A sound. Let's progress to the next one. How should I read this one? So over here, I have this pedestal with dot on top of the pedestal. What do you think? If your answer was O, you're correct. And last one, I have 3 dots giving me an E connected with the Aleph. I should read it as an E. Let's note before we progress, when we read in Hebrew, it is the opposite than reading in English and in other languages. We read from right to left and not the opposite way. A small tip, if you get confused, is that when you start writing, just make a small smiley or even put a sticker at the top right of the page, reminding you this is the beginning of where I should write from. Let's progress to the next letter, the letter Bet. The letter Bet actually has 2 versions, the Bet and the Vet. Can you see what is the difference between these two? So the difference is that on the Bet, I have the dagesh inside, So for me, it looks a little bit like a basketball being held in the hands of a basketball player that really doesn't want to release the ball. And the letter vet doesn't have the dagesh. So probably this basketball player was able to pass the ball around and get the victory. So when I see a ball inside of the bet, I will have a B sound, a B. And when I don't have the ball inside of the bet, I will have a V sound, a V sound. So now let's try and put it into action together. I have here the sound of ba. How should I write it down? Should I use the vet or should I use the bet? What do you think? So as you probably see, I have over here a b sound, and we said that I need to have a ball inside of the bet to receive the b, the b. How do I create this a sound next to it? If you thought of the kamatz or the patach, so the plus or minus signs, you're good. Now let's progress to the next one. How do I create this V sound? Should I use the vet or should I use the bet? So in this case, I have the V sound. So I probably passed the ball around and got the victory, the V. But how do I create this E next to it? And in this case, I have again two options. I can have the chirik or I can have the chirik maleh, the one with the small apostrophe next to it. As modern day writer, we should prefer using the one with the yud, with the small apostrophe next to it, because when we do so, we will help ourselves in the future. In the future, when we take out the vowels, this is the way for us to indicate that you should read the letter vet with an E sound. But for now, we do keep the chirik under. Next one, I want to have a be sound. How should I do it? Should I use the vet or should I use the bet? So I think we already got the idea. The B connects with the ball inside. So I'm going to use the bet. And for an A sound, what should I use? If your answer was 2 dots or the triangle, 3 dots, both of these are correct. The tsere or the segol, creating the E sound. And lastly, how can I create this VU sound? Do I use the vet or do I use the bet? What do you think? So again, we have the V from victory. So I passed the ball around. The ball is not at my hands. So I use the vet. And for the U, which vowel should I use? And of course, we have two options. We can use the shuruk with the pedestal and the dot at the middle. My lips are going to the middle, the same as the dot goes to the middle, U, and it will be a vu. Or I can use the U like this, 3 dots in a diagonal line. In this case, I would prefer using the shuruk, because in the future it will look like this. Now, after going over some exercises, let's try reading a little bit. So, in which words can I see the letter bet hiding? Let's go one by one. Can I see the letter bet somewhere over here? And in this case, I see the letter bet on the first placement in the word. Reading again, right to left. Let's see it number 2. Do I see it on the first letter? No. Do I see it on the second letter? No. And do I see it on the third letter? No. So, not here. Let's look at number 3. Do I see it at the first letter? Not really. But do I know this letter? We should, because this is the letter Aleph. And how should I read the letter Aleph over here? So Aleph, throaty cut, connected with the plus sign, giving me an ala sound. So it will be an ah. Second letter is not bet. Let's look over here at number 4. First letter is no. Second letter is the Aleph. Third letter, we don't know. Over here, again, I have the minus sign. How should I read it? Throaty cut, minus sign, giving me again this ah sound. So together, throaty cut, ah. Let's look at number 5. Not the first, not the second, so it doesn't work for us. Let's look at word number 6. At word number 6, I do recognize the letter bet at the beginning. Let's try reading those two bets at number 1 and at number 6. At number 1, I have the letter bet with the ball inside, giving me a B. How should I read it? The triangle of dots gives me an A sound. So together it will be a B sound. Let's look at number 6. How should I read it? I look at the letter bet, and I don't really have any vowel under the bet, but I do see the pedestal with a dot at the middle, meaning my lips should go the same way as the dot, going with the oo sound, the shuruk. Together, it will be a boo sound. And this is almost everything we want to do for today. Last thing we want to try and do is to write a word. The word that we are going to try and write is the word Abba. The meaning of this word is dead, but let's try and see if we can actually write the word dead in Hebrew. So I'll repeat it again. Abba. Abba. Let's break it down and see if we can recognize which consonants and which letters do we have. A, ba. So I have a small throaty cut at the beginning. A, meaning throaty cut is always the letter Aleph. A. So after the letter Aleph, after the throaty cut, I have an A sound, meaning I should use the plus or minus sign. In this case, I chose the minus sign. Afterward, I hear this ba sound, meaning a B. And B requires from me to use the ball. So I put under in the bet the ball, and again I hear this A sound, Abba. So in this case, I will use the plus sign. And a small rule that we do have in Hebrew is that the last letter almost always will not hold a vowel into it. I can see it here, and here, and here, and every word over here. So a small bureaucracy that we can do is actually to put an Aleph at the end and not add to the Aleph any vowel. So it will actually be another throaty cut, Abba, cutting the word quite clean at the end. So today we covered the vowel system and 2 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and this is quite it for today. If you enjoyed this content, consider following me, because we're going to continue and keep going with all of the letters, getting from 0 to reader and writer in 8 videos. See you next time.